In this episode of Low Code Feature Focus, we'll introduce the OpenAI Chat action, plus talk about some of the other actions that we're adding to PlantAn. The PlantAn documentation, located at learn.plantan.com, gives you access to our full documentation, including the actions. If you open the actions section, you'll see that we've added the OpenAPI section, which has actions for chat, count tokens, speech to text, and summarize content. Today, we're going to be focusing on the chat action and how you can use it to generate automatic responses for chatbots or implement AI-powered virtual assistants. You'll see that it accepts a variety of inputs, and for outputs gives the output message, the entire conversation, and the entire output. The chat action is intended to be an interactive chat. Similar action, summarize content, is used to summarize large pieces of content into smaller digestible pieces. Both chat and summarize content can take advantage of our new action, count tokens. Content that you submit to OpenAI must fall under a given limit of token count. So you can use the count token action to determine the number of tokens that are in your content and stay under the OpenAI limit. The final action, speech to text, whisper. This action allows you to transcribe audio recordings into written content, which are then suitable to paste into a chat or to summarize. So let's get started. In order to work with our OpenAI actions, you need an API key, which you can get from OpenAI. Create a new secret key and copy it. We're going to copy it and paste it into our development in just a moment. To illustrate the chat function, we'll create a simple form using the PlantAn app tools. I will add a form to a page, and we'll go in to manage it. Starting out as a blank form, we'll set a couple of options and then begin configuration. As a matter of style, I like my labels on the top. And with that setting, we'll go on to create our fields. The first field that we need is going to be a large text that will be for our input. We're going to have an input and also an output. So what we type into the input will be sent to the chat action and then generate an output. We'll also need a button that's going to be the submit chat button. We'll save the logic for that for a little while. In addition to the input and the output, we're going to have two additional fields, the entire conversation and the entire output. These will be used for our debugging purposes and will eventually be removed from our application. Finally, we're also going to add a text field for instructions. These are the instructions that we're going to provide to the OpenAI chat action. Great, now let's lay these out on the screen. We're going to put input and output next to each other, have the instructions on the top, and then in the same way, we will put the conversation and the output, the entire output together on the bottom. So with this layout, let's take a look and see what it looks like. I'm going to open this form for management on a new tab so that I can quickly switch back and forth. And now we can get a good look at what this form looks like. We have a spot for our instructions, input, output, and a button that we can click to begin the action, and then our conversation and output that we can work with as well. So let's build a chatbot. All of the actions will go on the Submit Chat button, which we'll begin to configure. We go to Submit Chat, look at on-click handler, and we're going to add from the OpenAI section the chat action. One of the first parameters to configure is the OpenAI key, which we've copied and pasted from creation a moment ago. We have a choice of models, and I'm going to choose ChatGPT 3.5 Turbo, which is a little faster and a little less expensive. I'm going to wire all of the fields from our form into the chat action like this. The instructions field will be wired into instruction. The message field will be mapped to input. The output will go to our output field. The entire conversation will go to our conversation. And the entire output will go to entire output. So having done that much, let's add one more action, an Ajax action, so that after the chat action has completed, the form will get updated. Let's save that result and take a look at how much we've got done so far. The chat action is now going to allow us to enter some input and get some output. We'll ask the question, what is PlantAn? And we'll submit and wait. Behind the scenes, the chat action that we've defined is submitting that information, the input, to OpenAI and waiting for the output to come back. When the output comes back, we get it displayed to the output, plus the entire conversation and the entire output are also displayed in case you want to record those. We'll focus for now on the output. So we asked, what is PlantAn? We got PlantAn as a low-code platform, and it goes on. However, we've not yet wired this as a conversation. For example, if our answer says that it deals with third-party tools, and we ask what third-party tools, because we haven't wired the conversation, we submit that, we'll get a generic answer, what are third-party tools? And we'll not take our earlier question about PlantAn into consideration. And as expected, the output comes back with no reference to PlantAn. So let's fix that. We're going to wire the entire conversation into our chat action. We're going to copy the field ID for entire conversation, go to submit chat, and in the chat action, we're going to provide previous messages from the form as entire conversation. So the conversation is being passed to the chat as well as any instructions. While we're talking about instructions, let's take a look at that. Let's change the initial value of instructions to be, you are a chatbot for PlantAn. Provide helpful information in a humorous manner, always trying to convince the user to try a demonstration of the product. Since the instructions are wired to the chat action, they will influence how the chat action works. Here's where the instructions are wired to the chat action. Let's give it a try. We refresh, and now we see that the instructions are filled in with the initial value. So we don't have to say anything about PlantAn. We can just ask our question. So we'll ask a generic question, what are the top 3 benefits of your product? And submit. Because that's going together with the instructions, it knows that we're talking about PlantAn. Let's see what it comes up with. The output specifically references PlantAn and includes efficiency, flexibility, and cost efficiency. And as you can see, it encourages the user to try a demo. Let's take advantage of the conversational nature that we've implemented. Let's ask about benefit number 2. We're not being specific with what we're asking, but we're rather pointing back to the flexibility benefit that was part of the first answer. The chat action takes the entire conversation into account and provides an answer that focuses in on flexibility and provides lots of bullet points for that. And still, always prompting the user to experience this through a demo. With these simple steps, we've implemented a sophisticated chatbot. Of course, we could work on the formatting and the way it displays, but you get the idea. With one simple chat action wired to the fields on the form, we're able to implement a sophisticated conversation that focuses on our product in a helpful way. This low-code feature focus has introduced our OpenAI actions, chat, count tokens, speech to text, and summarize content. We focused on chat and how to implement a simple yet sophisticated chat application. We hope this helps you envision the possibilities offered by the OpenAI Chat action integrated into PlantAn, and we encourage you to try out this new feature and experience the benefits for your business application.